Well, hello everyone, and welcome to CIGRE's second century. It's a great honor for me to stand before you, the first time since 2018, and welcome you to the official opening of CIGRE 2022. I'm pleased to introduce with me here in Paris, Mario Chessman, who is the Technical Council Chair. Hello, Mario. Mike Hayek, who's VP Finance, but also in charge of marketing. Philippe Adam, who is CIGRE General Secretary and responsible for all the good things that happen to us. And Arshad Mansour, who will be the keynote speaker. Now, this is the first time we've been able to meet physically in such a large number since our very successful session 4 years ago. After a 2-year interruption due to the pandemic, it is wonderful that we are here in person for a CIGRE session again. The only regret is that travel limitations had to be maintained for many visitors from Asia, meaning for them remote attendance again. Also to the 800 who maintained their 2020 registration over the past 2 years, I wish to sincerely thank you for your solidarity and your support. COVID taught us that it was possible to meet electronically. Great thanks to the Central Office and to the Technical Council for organizing these virtual weeks. It was new for CIGRE and complex, but we proved that it was possible to maintain technical knowledge sharing even under unusual circumstances. Thank you as well to those who participated. We celebrated the CIGRE centenary at a distance, of course, with limited joy. As we dive into our second century, I would like to take a moment to recall a few important elements of our foundation. A century ago, the world was battling with the Spanish flu pandemic and a difficult economic situation after World War I. Energy transmission was seen as a means to boost the economy. 100 years ago, high voltage technology was 120 kV in Europe, 132 kV and 150 kV in Americas, and California was planning to move to 220 kV. The IEC, International Electrotechnical Commission, was created in 1906, but in 1920, many believed a different organization focused on electrical transmission was needed. The necessity of a resolutely systemic approach to power systems, their technological development, and their economy was ultimately the most important factor in the creation of the CIGRE conference. Mr. Mayou of USA, then president of IEC International, and Mr. Tribault-Lapierre of France, Secretary of Electrician Union, believed that the pooling of ideas and experience would aid the growth of interconnections. As a result, the first CIGRE conference was held in Paris in 1921. With this club of pioneers, CIGRE aimed to provide an international setting for the discussion and the study of technical questions concerning the generation, transmission, and distribution of electrical energy, and to disseminate the progress made by experts from all over the world in these fields. Concretely, the conference enabled renowned specialists to meet in person. 100 years later, I believe we continue to maintain and grow the vision these brilliant engineers had in mind. So now, I repeat my words. I'm honored to stand here in Paris as the president of CIGRE and speak with all of you in person as we celebrate 100 years of success in our field. CIGRE continues to be an effective and continuously developing organization with more than 17,000 members worldwide, 270 concurrent working groups, and 90 countries represented. This year, we are very happy to host more than 3,600 and closer to 3,700 active participants to this session, with 280 exhibitors and approximately 9,000 visitors to the exhibition. I would like to remind everyone that CIGRE is a global technical community that promotes global collaboration among countries as one of its main missions. CIGRE remains a peaceful endeavor, as it has for over 100 years, building bridges over conflicts. The current impact on the availability of energy will make the delivery of electricity even more visible by the increase in prices and the potential shortages. Now, looking forward, electricity is taking a bigger share as a form of energy due to the energy transition. We have been able to celebrate the impressive changes and challenges of our industry. Resilient, affordable decarbonization was our theme and has been exactly what we do and what we focus for in the future. This industry has undergone many changes in the last decades: deregulation, unbundling, electricity open market, energy transition, integration of renewable, storage, demand response, and microgrids, all of which have been enabled by the digitization progress. Now, further to the Paris Agreement, Kyoto Agreement, and COP26, electrical power systems will be upgraded to improve transmission, quality, and expanded to replace, wherever possible, other forms of mechanical or heating energy in order to reduce CO2 emissions. The rapid development of electrical vehicles and the potential of hydrogen as a clean fuel or storage medium will put additional stress on our existing systems. This will be a catalyst for further expansion and digitalization of the grid. Our focus, therefore, will be on technologies and processes, ensuring network stability while increasing the level of integration of renewables, increasing long-distance power exchanges between countries in AC or DC, developing smart grids, and managing energy from end to end, integrating storage and developing of the use of hydrogen, and with the impact of climate change, the need to build a resilient, self-healing grid. This transformation advances the coordination among transmission, distribution, and distributed energy resources with the state-of-the-art information and communication technology and digital technology. All of this requires policy changes and new market mechanisms. As we progress into CIGRE's second century, standing for shared power systems, expertise, and savoir-faire, I believe, as I'm sure you all do, that the next 100 years of CIGRE will see and develop more amazing innovations in our industry. It is through these sessions that we are shaping the future of energy. To change and to remember, in these 4 years we've been absent, there's been COVID, we've lost some people. Among the key CIGREans who disappeared, there's Mr. Heinz Helmut Schramm from Germany, Pierre Argot, very well known in the SCB1 chair and very, until last moment, extremely dedicated to writing green books and supporting them, and Mario Sforzini. So I think for them, for our members who disappeared, or for the member of families, maybe we should have just 1 minute of silence. Now, what happened to CIGRE since 2018. 2020 should have been a good year. More than 800 papers had been selected by the study committees, and in early May, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Administrative Council decided to postpone that session until August 21, and to organize a virtual event on the dates already saved for the session. More than 2,500 delegates participated in 83 webinars of the e-session, broadcast on 4 parallel channels from August 24th to September the 3rd. The e-session was a sort of super poster session where all the authors had the possibility to present their papers to the virtual delegates. In May 2021, considering the evolution of the pandemic worldwide, the Administrative Council decided once more to hold the Centennial Session in a virtual mode. The format of this event was similar to a normal session, with group discussion meetings, tutorials, and workshops, but instead of 5 days, the virtual session was broadcasted via CIGRE TV during 8 days from August 18th to August 27th. That was mainly to allow all time zones to attend at reasonable times. The study committees and the central office built a very professional and well-appreciated event, but attended only by 1,500 delegates. It's clear I think people were weary of electronic attention. CIGRE TV was an interesting innovation of this event, unanimously welcomed by those who were attending. The 2 symposia planned in 2021 had to be postponed too. Ljubljana Symposium took place in November 21, and Kyoto Symposium took place in March 2022, both in a hybrid mode, including in-person and remote attendance. In spite of these very exceptional conditions, 3 important projects were implemented in 2020 and 2021. First, the digitalization of Electra, the journal of the association. The second, the digitalization of CIGRE Science and Engineering, providing additional digital sponsorship opportunities. And the third project was the membership gateway, facilitating new membership applications that started successfully in October 2021. Preparation of this 2022 session started immediately after the last e-session, with the definition of new preferential subjects, a new process to facilitate and support the review of the papers by the study committees, and to also improve the quality of the papers was successfully put in place. This session is an in-person event, not a hybrid one. The delegates who cannot come to Paris may attend the technical events online, though with limited interaction capabilities. 2 other innovations can be noticed. CIGRE TV, initially designed for a virtual event, is now integrated in the in-person event. And the technical exhibition now welcomes, and you'll be able to see them, 20 startups, offering them a unique opportunity to be visible globally to our industry. As a conclusion, and now looking back over these last 4 years, I'm happy to see that CIGRE continues to provide its services to its members, delegates, and sponsors. Much of its success is thanks to our move to greater digitalization taken. As in the energy industry overall, our use of technical advancements got us past the difficulties generated by the pandemic. Congratulations to all who made these past years such an impressive success. And I think you can applaud yourself, in fact, because I mean, this is a collective success, and the fact you come in such a number today shows how much people care about CIGRE. So now we move to the second part of the day. So that is it is now my pleasure to introduce the keynote speaker for his opening ceremony, Arshad Mansour, who will talk to you about his ideas on how to move forward a climate-ready power system with a focus on resilient and affordable decarbonization. Arshad is president and CEO of Electric Power Research Institute, EPRI, He's responsible for the Institute's operation and portfolio of R&D programs. Arshad is also a PhD. So please, Arshad, come along and, sorry, yeah. So, in fact, we're going to innovate. We like to innovate. And we're going to use Slido and ask you Arshad will ask you a certain number of questions so that you can answer. And therefore, you have the possibility to screenshot the screen. We have a little time for that, which will give you access to the application and to different questions. So I will wait a bit until you warm up and your machines warm up. And you'll be able to see live the result of the room. So I think it's okay. We'll go for the next one. So the first questions are rather simple, just to see if you can use the tool. Is where you're from? Yeah, not surprising. Well done, Asia and Pacific. You beat North and South America. Now, is it because you're more numerous or you're better at using the tools? We don't know. Yeah, so 776 people answered. 800, it's pretty good. Asia is still moving forward. Okay, 840, 49, 62. Pretty good. Okay, so I think, and you can't vote twice with the system, so it's... Yeah, Arshad, you'll have to plan more times for your speech because you see, numbers are still growing. Here the question is simple. Okay, so we'll move to the next question is, what is your affiliation? Utility, university R&D, vendors and consultants, others? Yeah, we're much quicker now. That's good. That seems to be easier to define. Okay, so thanks a lot. I think it's going to be the movie now, and yeah.
Great, thank you, Michel. Good evening. Come on, you guys have to be more interactive. Good evening. Good evening. Much better, much better. It is just an absolute honor and pleasure to be here today. It's good to see all of you back after 4 years. And a lot has happened in 4 years besides the pandemic. And I'm going to focus on, as soon as I get my slides moving to the title slide, that really, if you look at the 3 major things that has happened in the last 4 years that we were not able to meet in person besides the pandemic that impacts the energy system. Number 1, we all were talking about net zero future. But net zero future is 2050, 2070. There are more than 100 countries who came to Glasgow last year, the UN Climate Summit, COP26. And now aspirations are ambitions grounded by 2030 target. 2030 is only 8 years away. So now we got to measure ourselves how well we are doing for a 2030 target. Have your phones ready because I'm going to ask a question to see if you know what your 2030 target is for your country. But it's not only that aspiration and ambition. We knew that we have to do this affordably, reliably. And you're now in Europe. Just 2 days ago, the future power price in France and Germany were exceeding €1 per kilowatt hour. That's $1,000 a megawatt hour. Future winter prices are approaching €2 a kilowatt hour. Clearly, energy security is front line and center. And there are countless millions of people that will suffer because of the energy prices. I was reading a report in the UK, 50% of UK households will be in energy poverty by this December. So while we are keeping our focus on long-term, net zero 2030 target, we'll also have to make sure that energy security becomes a central piece of this decarbonization. And then finally, the third one, we knew about it. We knew that the climate was changing. We knew there was preponderance of scientific evidence that climate is changing. So the IPCC report, that's the global group of scientists that generates the research, came out just a couple of months ago. And it was as if we needed more proof. It clearly showed that climate has already changed, globe has already warmed. The Paris Climate Treaty of 1.5 degrees C, most likely we may reach by 2030, 2035. And they had some prediction. They had prediction based on their science that flooding, heat wave, cold wave, 1 in 100-year events would be 1 in 10-year events. The last 6 hottest year on Earth, since we are measuring temperature for almost 130 years, was the last 6 years. If you look at the flood in Germany, if you look at the flood is going on right now in Pakistan, if you look at what happened last year in Europe with the wind drought, clearly the system that we designed for the weather of the future needs to be redesigned for the next weather. For the weather of the past needs to be redesigned for the weather of the future. So that's the context for going to the slides, if I can change the slides. And as the slides are being worked on, yeah, what I'm going to start with is the thing about decarbonization 2030 target, only 8 years from now. I'm going to show a short video that puts the US numbers in perspective. And then after the video, I'm going to come back and ask you questions on what is the situation in your country. So let's play the video of the US 2030 decarbonization goals.
The Electric Power Research Institute is examining the pace of U.S. carbon emission reduction based on the goal of cutting economy-wide emissions in half by 2030. Across the U.S. economy, annual energy-related carbon emissions declined 1 gigaton between 2005 and 2020, driving CO2 about 50% below 2005 levels by 2030 means tripling the rate of decarbonizing ocean, accelerating from a 1 gigaton reduction over 15 years to 1 gigaton every 5 years. Additional reductions are expected in the decades ahead as the U.S. targets net zero emissions economy-wide by 2050. Between 2005 and 2020, the power sector reduced its carbon emissions by 35%, driven by end-use efficiency gains coupled with natural gas and renewables replacing coal. Electric sector reductions will need to accelerate over the coming decade to achieve a 3 times increase in the economy-wide pace. With high solar and wind penetration and advanced low-carbon technologies emerging, achieving net zero power sector emissions will take time and involve substantial technology innovation to make the transition affordable and reliable. The transportation, buildings, and industry sectors achieved relatively small carbon reductions between 2005 and 2020. These sectors will have to substantially accelerate reductions to meet 2030 goals. Electrification will play a central role in the decades ahead. Transportation, buildings, and industry are expected to continue reducing emissions, powered by electrification, low-carbon fuels, and carbon capture and storage. The development of negative emission technologies will benefit all sectors. The power sector is poised to play a crucial role in realizing the U.S. carbon goals in the coming decades through direct emission reductions and by enabling reductions in transportation, buildings, and industry. As we decarbonize and further electrify the transportation and building sectors, we simultaneously need to ensure the electric grid can withstand the changing weather and climate of today and tomorrow. Adapting the grid and proactively planning upgrades to handle extreme weather require evaluating trends in future climate projections, assessing grid vulnerabilities, and investing in robust risk mitigation options that account for regional differences. Maintaining and improving resilience will be a critical part of the decarbonization journey as we seek to build a clean, affordable, safe, and reliable energy future.
That puts in perspective what we have to do today. A couple of things on the video that you saw. First, the timeline, the past, the present, which is this decade, and the future. So the past, and this is not just US, in almost every country, the power sector has done the best job in reducing the carbon emission. But if we are concerned about climate change, we should be concerned about carbon dioxide reduction from all over the economy. That's transportation, that's buildings, that's industry. If you look at the present, where I'm going to spend more of the time on, the present, it cannot be just power sector getting cleaner. And this is where, from a CIGRE perspective, this organization, I know we are power system expertise, but our region is broadening. We need to work with transportation, we need to work with buildings, we need to work with industry. And that will help us to achieve our 2030 goal. But going beyond 2030, going to net zero, you can't electrify everything. You cannot electrify maritime shipping. You cannot electrify aircrafts, big, large, transcontinental planes. You can't electrify cement, steel industry. So what do? What you do is one option. There's a lot of work going on, and CIGRE is already engaged, but needs to be even more engaged. Clean electricity will create clean molecules. The molecules are hydrogen, the molecules are liquid ammonia, the molecules are synthetic methane. This is what will provide the jet fuel and the maritime fuel of the future. So if you are with CIGRE or IEEE or IEC or EPRI, any other organization, if you're an electric utility company, the future will be shaped by you, not just the future of the power system, but the future of the energy system. And I would say if we are not successful, what is in doubt is the future of humanity. Because if you look at what's happening because of climate change, weather around the world, we cannot let this continue in this same pace. So let me get your phone up. Get your phone up. We'll start the first question. And if I can get to the first question would be, if you know your country's 2030 goal that was set up at the last year's Glasgow Climate Summit, how confident you are that those goals could be met, which is only 8 years from now? The US was 50%. That's going to be a pretty ambitious goal. And we'll give you maybe 30 seconds for these answers, so I want to see what, I like it. Difficult, but achievable. I would have said the same thing from a US perspective if I could vote. It's not mission impossible, but it will become mission impossible if what's happening in Europe and Asia and in North and South America related to energy security continues. If what's happening on supply chain continues, it will soon become mission impossible. So we all need to make sure we are working together to make this achievable, even though it's going to be an extremely challenging thing. And we got 8 more years left, not a lot of time left. Let me move to the second question. And the second question relates to, before I move to the second question, I show the US challenge. So this is the US challenge, and you all have the same challenge. If you look at that graph, busy graph, the colors are different types of generation resource. The one below zero is things that are retired, and the one above zero are the amount of generating capacity that is being built. For US to meet its 2050 goal, that's the amount of primarily wind and solar. will have to be built in the next 10 years. Look at those bars. Look at those columns. Only once in the history we have been able to install that much generation. Now we got to do it year over year for the next 8 years. That's how challenging that is. But just cleaning up the generation sector is not really where the major technical challenge is. The major technical challenge is on the grid side. So if I can get this work, I'm going to go to the Slido question after this. So get your phone up. And I know this is right in your wheelhouse. And you can only pick one answer. I know the answer would be all four are needed, Ashad. You need a grid-forming inverter for a future that would be significantly more renewable. You need long-duration storage. Guess what long-duration storage we have today? It's called natural gas, and it's called oil, and it's called coal. We need to figure out energy storage for days, weeks, for seasons. Distribution, the whole periphery of the grid, it needs to be completely modernized. And then you have the last question, which is kind of broad across distribution, generation, transmission. I think the previous in-person CIGRE session was about the Internet of the future, this 4.0 industrial economy. So I'm seeing that long durations, that's excellent. And I'm saying that's excellent is because that moves us beyond our comfort zone. Our comfort zone, grid-forming inverter, distribution, modernization, this is all the expertise are there. Now you're talking about long-duration storage. Now you got to move into hydrogen space. Now you got to move into thermal storage space. You got to move to other places because this decarbonization is not just for the power system. You know, if you are a CIGRE young in career, I think the next generation network, you will shape the future of humanity. And I'm not making it up. If you look at what's happening on weather, if you look at what's happening in climate, if we can't manage our carbon emission, we're looking at a future, and this is the group. And everybody else around the world that is working on power system, you are the tip of the spear. Now, technology is important, don't get me wrong, but technology is not the only thing that will get us to 2030 or 2050 net zero. So the next slide of question, I think the one after this, is going to talk about, well, technology is a big piece. Policy and regulation is a big piece. Market structure, financial is a big piece. Do we have the workforce? Do we have the supply chain to build all those tall bar graphs that you saw that we have to build throughout the world? So I want to get your sense on where you think, and as you are answering those questions, and as you can see the slide that I just skipped, that slide was my answer. My answer was not long-duration storage. My answer was modernizing the distribution grid, bringing supply and demand, actively managing both. So that was my answer. I didn't want to give up my answer before you guys were voting on it. So if I look at the answers that are coming, that's another great. I didn't expect that. Most of us, I think, are all technical. You know, we've got power systems, but I think you realize, and this is where CIGRE, IEEE, IEC, EPRI, all other organizations will have to play a role. Speaking the fact about power to people in power should be our objective. We can't just develop transformer guidebooks. We can't just develop all the thousands of very important technical work that we do. We need to step up in each one of our country, and we need to talk about why do we need capacity. We need to talk about how fast can you bring wind and solar if you don't have sufficient balancing resources. We need to talk about market needs to value capacity and energy equitably. It cannot be just an energy-only value. And this expands what we do at CIGRE. I'm going to make sure I can move the next slide. There you go. So markets, policy and markets, you put the emphasis on that. I know CIGRE has working group on markets, and some ways say you got to do all four. So what it is asking you is, the first one is, you know, maybe the market design that we have is not going to work. More optimistic is, yeah, it will work, but we got to figure out how to value flexibility. We got to figure out how to value resiliency. So if you were given the magic wand to change the market, which one would be the most important thing that you will do? New approaches for flexibility and resiliency. Okay, good. Not a lot of full optimism or full pessimism. So basically, market structure are well able to deal, except 14%. Markets won't be able to deal. So you are all saying glass is half full. And we got to figure out how to bring the services, the resiliency, flexibility, inertia, flexibility for ramp rate. All these should be market services that are needed. Can we do that? It has been tough to just get a capacity market working in many parts of US and other places. So now we got to have a flexibility market. We got to have an inertia market. We got to have a resiliency market. Is that the way we will do this transition? Profound question, but we will have to work and see if that's the way to proceed or not. I'm going to talk about, so this is today, this is this decade. We'll be building a lot of wind and solar. You saw what we need to do on the grid side. You saw how important it is on the market side. But let's step back or step forward into the future. And if I can get my next slide. So this is where, assume we are doing this CIGRE session in 2030. And assume we have been successful. A lot of the countries have met their goals that they have set up for 2030. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do beyond 2030? You can't electrify hard-to-electrify sectors. What happens in the US, all the gas turbines that we're building? And this is really where we expand our thinking. Clean electricity will create clean molecules. Those are the clean molecules today that are natural gas, that are petroleum. They are the lifeblood of the economy. If we cannot create clean molecules from clean electricity, hydrogen is just one example. Liquid ammonia, synthetic methane. And the entire thing about production, delivery, and end use, there is so much work that needs to be done. We are not even scratching the surface, and CIGRE needs to be in the center of that. I'm going to give you another QR code. This is not a question. The next slide has a QR code. I'm going to stop using this. I'm going to just look at, I'm going to go to the previous slide. Previous slide, the one before. There you go. So if you want to know what's happening globally, the largest global collaboration on producing hydrogen from clean electricity, go to that QR code, go to the LCRI website, and see how the global community is coming in. Now, assume we are successful with hydrogen. Assume we have been able to decarbonize. Let's say ambitiously many countries are net zero by 2050. If you look at the next slide, that brings up my last part of what a climate-ready power system is. I mentioned about IPCC. I mentioned IPCC in the context of they are the preponderance of science to tell us what the future weather will look like. It's the report that came out a couple of months ago. I just took one slide. Oh, that report is dense with data and information. And what that slide is showing is if you look at the x-axis, the x-axis is showing what happens when the temperature starts going up. It has a 1 degree C, 1.5 degree C, 2 degree C. If you're not successful in decarbonization that quickly, it may be 3 degrees C. So that's how warming happens. And when that warming happens, what increases is the probability of extreme weather that we are seeing right now firsthand. Probability of heat wave, probability of flooding. Places that have never flooded will flood. So if you got a EHV substation, don't wait for that flood to happen. There are now science and modeling that are available that you can bring in that can predict within a 10 square mile region what the future wind speed, what the future ice loading, what the heating condition, what the cooling condition could be. We got to now take that information of predicting the future in your region, in your utility, And we got to see how do we change the design basis. If we were building transmission lines in the Gulf Coast in the United States at 130 miles an hour, wind withstand capability, should it be 150? A lot of technical work has to be done. And if you go to the next slide, you will see that work has started in earnest at CIGRE and other places. To get that QR code, go to the website. It just has started. It is a new initiative, another global initiative, Climate Ready. We took the liberty of spelling ready with an I, not with a Y. Because READY stands for RE is resilience, AD is adaptation, and I is initiative. Because time has come for us not to wait for the next weather event, not to wait for 2040. Do it now. The infrastructure that you're building, that you have already built, will be there in 2040, will be there in 2050. You have to proactively start doing resiliency planning. Because if we are not, and in the meanwhile we are electrifying transportation, and we are using electricity to create clean hydrogen, the world of power system has gone 3, 4, 5 times bigger. Imagine if the power goes out for 3 days. What's going to happen in that future society? So I'm going to end up with the last slide where I'm going to say I didn't answer any question, but you did answer a lot of my questions through a Slido. So you can take that QR code, go to the LinkedIn, and connect with me and ask me any questions that you have that I didn't answer. And I look forward to seeing you at the reception after this. So thank you again for your time. It's my honor and pleasure to be here today, and I'm going to hand it over for the most exciting part of today, which are the award ceremony, and I'm going to make sure this goes to the right person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Afan. Congratulations. On va peut-être le... Hein? Je vais le donner à... So now it's the nice part, the pleasant part, to give the awards to the people we have selected. You have selected for this session. Now, awards are given at each important session. They are given in very limited number. They're given through a process of selection. So we're going to start by the first series of awards. And we're going to ask the people to come on board to get their award and then to go over to this side of the stage so we can have afterwards a global picture. Some of the awardees will be on CIGRE TV and will be able to talk about their career. So you will be able to see that over the week. We're going to try and do this in a fast and lively way. So please, the first award is for the NGN. So it's the engineers who have given a lot of their time and contributions to CIGRE belonging to the NGN group. So here we have Madeleine Binet. So I don't know if they are all here. No. Ilka Jan. Congratulations, and here you are. Thank you very much. We'll just wait here. Maybe there's supposed to be a picture, but apparently, here we go. Thank you. Please. Then we have Anna Lovrencic. Hello, Anna, please. Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, they said yes. Sorry, they missed. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Anthony Giacomini. Hello, Anthony. Congratulations, and we'll stay for the picture. Okay, thank you. And Magnum Liao. probably difficult for him. Is he here? Ah, it's great. Thank you. Congratulations. No, you please. Okay, and we'll just wait for the picture. Thank you. Now we're going to continue to Kostas Velitsakis. Fine. Do you want a second one? Okay. Congratulations, and thank you very much, and we'll just wait for the picture as well. Okay, thank you. And Matthew Zillman. Matthew's got a fan club. Yeah. Congratulations, Matthew. There you are. We'll stand for the picture. Okay. Now we move to women in energy. And here also, we're going to start by Kaya Zakidioka. Kaya. Kaya is one of the most famous members of CIGRE. So congratulations, Kaya. Thank you, and we'll take a picture. Okay. Thank you. And we got Pranvera Dobruna. Congratulations. Nice to see you again. Okay, when we're also, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Renuka Guerra. Hello, Renuka. We can come for this. Here we are. We'll stand here. After you. Thank you. Johan who? Where's Johan? Before. Congratulations. Thank you. And here we are for the picture. Thank you. And Geneviève Lietz. Yeah. No move. Thank you. Congratulations, Geneviève. Okay. Here we are. We'll take. Okay, thank you. And Amanda Olson. Okay. Congratulations, Amanda. Okay, thank you very much, and we'll go for. Thank you. So now we go for the distinguished degree for the new CIGRE Fellow, and there are people who have contributed considerably on technical issues and leading groups for CIGRE. So we're going to start by very famous CIGRE members also, Britta Buchholz. Okay, congratulations, Britta. You get something nice. Okay. Yan Bin, so I think Yan Bin, we will send it by virtually, unless someone comes, but Yan Bin is in China and is watching at a distance, so congratulations to Yan Bin. and João Félix Nolasco. Congratulations. Come here, please. No, yeah, for the picture? Sorry for that. Okay. Thank you. Then. Okay, Alvaro Carlos Portillo. We saw him yesterday, so he mustn't be very far. Congratulations. Thank you. And René Smets. Okay, well done, René. It's a pleasure to have you. So,
thank you very much.
So next is honorary member. Also people have been a long time and contributed to CIGRE, both on technical grounds or on administrative grounds. So it's also an award that gives you the right to participate to the session in the future for free, which is a good award. So, Christine. A lot of you know Christine. Sorry to rush you. Okay, good. Don't forget this. Yeah, it gets bigger and bigger. Okay. Thank you. Olga Sinenko. Olga, nice to have you with us. Thank you. All right, don't forget, it's a few. Yes. Thank you. Edem Bikacik. Thank you very much.
Very honest to me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, but this is for you. Ninel Kutalewski. You came with your bag, you thought it was a very big award. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, congratulations. Whoop, careful. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. And then Juan Carlos de Oliveira Melo. Congratulations. Thank you. Careful where you walk. Yeah. We've got a trick here. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very. And now, because there are 10 awards, in fact, for the honorary members, so we have Zia Emin. Careful there. Okay. Congratulations, yeah. And I think it's... Thank you. Abe Kumar, Abe. Nice to have you, Abe. And Alex Levinson. So, yeah, congratulations, Alex. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Now we continue with Herbert Luchwitz.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Herbert. And Marco Marelli. So, you're a young honorary member. Pleasure to see you. Okay. And now we go for the CIGRE medal. As Rob Stephen used to say, it's for the people who walk on water in CIGRE. They know how to do things. And here we have taken, in fact, since we've had these visual meetings, we considered that we should give the medal to some people who've already received it virtually. Now they will receive it physically, even if it's in the form of a piece of paper, but which is strange. So we start. Constantin Papayou. Clearly our most famous CIGREan, passionate, and contributing a lot of his time and money to CIGRE.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Constantin.
Picture.
Yes, I don't want to miss that one. Thank you, please go there. Next person is Mark Waldron. So, our British TC chair for 6 years, and a very good TC chair when CIGRE started to go to end-to-end. So, also an innovator. It's a pleasure, really, to have you have this medal, Mark. Plus, a very pleasant partner. Yep. Next person, up. Richard Bevan. So Richard has come all the way from Australia, but if we're here today, it's also thanks to Richard, because when he was VP Finance, he was the one who said we must save money, at least €3 million. We never know what could happen, and we were very afraid of a terrorist attack. Okay, and we got a pandemic, but the dollars don't mind. They were there, and they've helped us through. So thanks a lot, Richard, plus all the other things you've done for CIGRE. Yeah.
Photo?
Yeah, let's take a picture. Anion Bose. A reference in the field of engineering, so real pleasure to have you, and real pleasure to give you this medal. Okay. And then, I don't know if I can introduce him. Mohamed Rashwad. the man for whom anything is a straight line. Okay, Mohamed. So it's a pleasure to have you. And last but not least, Rob Stephen. Yeah, past president, but also enthusiastic about power lines, what you call, you use the word majestic, compared to less majestic substations. I took that very hard for myself, but we like people who are passionate, and you are a passionate mind, and you're still president in CIGRE, chair of the edition of the CSC edition committee. Okay. So I think that calls the day. Thanks a lot for your attention. Thanks a lot for being so many. And I will stop being the obstacle for you going to next door for the cocktail. And we're going to you will be able to see the video again. And as the video goes, you will be able to leave the room. Okay, thanks a lot for your attendance. Thanks a lot for your warmth. Thanks a lot for what you're going to do this week. Yeah, we're going to have a picture. Yeah, just stay. Pardon? Yeah. Wait. I'm looking for Arshad.
Small and fat in the front.
Yes.
Small and fat in the front.
Stay like this a little bit.
Ana, joder.
Okay.
I can hold my breath.
Anything. Yeah, so right. Done. It's done.
You done? One by one.
One by one.
Okay.
That's gonna be fun.
Arshad,
Bravo, Rosia, signature.
I should have given you that.